you did say National Cemetery.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It is the smallest national cemetery in the United States. 500 headstones. Now, as I said, Osceola was captured. He was there in prison inside the Castillo de San Marco, where there he contracted a nasty disease, malaria. But to have the death of an American Indian chief on the conscience of the United States was frowned upon. So they actually hid Osceola at Fort Sumter. But with Osceola came his own personal doctor, Dr. Whedon. Dr. Whedon had cared for Osceola every day until Osceola had succumbed to the malaria. Well, one morning he decides he's going to go see his old friend, asks the guard if he can have a moment alone. And with him he brought a black leather medicine bag. He entered the room, he locked the door behind him, opened the casket of Osceola. From the bag, he had extracted a 12-inch bladed scalpel and actually proceeded to surgically remove the head of Osceola.
That's crazy.
He then placed the head inside of a jar, placed it back inside of his medicine bag, sealed the coffin, and sealed the door behind him, and walked away as if nothing had happened. It said he had taken the head home with him, and he actually filled the jar with vinegar. He actually pickled the head of Osceola. I don't know why. Maybe it went really good with Thanksgiving dinner, but I'm not being there for that.
A little bit of fava beans on the side.
Oh, so, well, it was said that he had cut the head off and won for revenge because Osceola had actually killed the nephew of Dr. Whedon.
Makes sense.
So, like I said earlier, to have the head removed and your body laid to rest.
Right.
They say you can't pass
Never
on.
reach its final destination. Dog alarm.
Oh, it's a little one.
Oh, what's up, Jack?
You little Jack Russell.
It reminds me of the dog on Mask.
And there he was ambushed by the United States. But guess what? Osceola didn't go down without a fight. Bring you this way here, guys. And as they slept, they'd have to sit there and stare at the head of Osceola. One of the buildings that we'll be going by here in about, let's say, 20 minutes was actually a location where Osceola's head was. Osceola's head was passed around for a while. After about 2 generations, the building that we'll be going by was actually a boarding house. And the only boarding house in the world operated by a woman. Women weren't even allowed to buy their own socks back in this time period. The man had to do everything. So this young lady was actually the very first to open her own boarding house. Today it is called the Jimenez Fascio Museum. If you ever want to know anything about the early 1800s, please feel free to go right inside.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did they have any, well, they were called cribs back then, but basically brothels here?
Yes.
I mean, it's an army town, so, I mean, one would think.
Yes, most definitely. I don't know exactly what all they had here because some of these places have been leveled and rebuilt all because of Henry Flagler. But some of it is still original. Now, right here at that building, the lady who ran that boarding house was actually the great-granddaughter of Dr. Whedon. She got married one year, and what do you think she received as a wedding gift?
Please tell me the head. Or no, Osceola's head.
Osceola.
Yeah.
Osceola's head.
Yeah.
It's just a really weird family.
So it's something we would do, though.
She despised that head. If I can get you over here, please. I'm the only person allowed to get ran over.
I thought I heard tires.
All right, we're going to go ahead across the street right here and bring you right up here in front of the Tovar House. One of the original Spanish homes of 1763. If you ever have a question about how old any of these buildings are, all you do is look at the windows.
Oh, yeah.
As we all know, glass is a soluble liquid. So over time, heat and gravity takes its toll on the glass. It pulls it, it folds it, and it ripples it. This is one of the buildings here in St. Augustine that I've had a lot of paranormal activity. I've had a young lady who actually did a recording on the inside of the building, and you could see, no, you can't even see the exit sign from this angle. We actually saw one of the most unique orbs I had ever seen. The orb was not stationary, but it was pulsing. It was flashing. I have never seen one like this of its time. At the same time, while we're getting this video, I have a shooting star straight from behind my head.
That's cool.
I mean, I've had a lot of very unique activity that takes place right here at this building, the oldest house museum. You walking by, you can hear people talking, but it's not in English. And it's not Spanish. It's the old Spanish tongue. And it's very hard to depict what they're saying. But it's happened multiple times. I have guests walking through and, did you hear that? I'm like, hear what? Someone's in there. No one better be in here. The museum's closed. I'll call the cops. I go, I look. I don't see anything. And then I hear it. So, like I said, there's things that happen here in St. Augustine that we just really have to get over and get used to. I'm going to bring you on here. We're going to be coming up on the last leg of the journey here shortly. Taking you right back to the marina. If you would like, you can stay over here. You can stay on the sidewalk. I know it's kind of difficult with a wheelchair on some areas.
It is what it is.
This is the Chechi House right over here to my left. It said that President Roosevelt had actually stayed here for a few weeks. We have gotten shadows in the windows because this is still part of the National Guard. Nobody actually stays there. So to have a shadow in the middle of the night that you can actually see through, we've decided to bring Joshua and Annabelle here. Now, have we ever heard of the TV show Ghost Hunters?
Yeah.
Well, they've done over 18 paranormal investigations right here in St. Augustine, including the lighthouse being one of them. Another one that they did is actually coming up here shortly. Now, have anyone of you here been to a bed and breakfast?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what'd you think of it? Coming up here is going to be the oldest continuous operated lodge in the United States. And said to be one of the most haunted. Hey, buddy. This is the St. Francis Inn, 1791. The room itself, right up top, right here on the corner, actually has a 6-month waiting list on it for being one of the most haunted rooms in the nation.
Go ahead, you're fine.
Now, back in this time period, it didn't matter what race, color, or creed that you were, you had a servant. Blacks owned blacks, Asians owned Asians, whites owned whites. You just came down and did your chores. Well, Lily had broken a cardinal rule. She had fallen in love with the nephew of the St. Francis family, Nicholas. If I can go ahead and get you straight on across to the other side.
Which way are we going, bud?
Up
Come
on
down
the.
here. Whee! Well, they were caught. And Nicholas was warned. If you were ever seen with that woman again, she will be shipped off to the marina and sold to the market. Well, the scolding went well for approximately 2 weeks. But love has a strange way of bringing people back together. And they were caught again.
We know nothing about that. About being brought back together. Nothing.
Well, sure true to their word, Lily was tossed into a carriage and was taken to the marina.
Oh my gosh.
Nicholas was so upset, so heartbroken over the loss of his, honest to God, true love. He was 19 years old. He had went to that room, and with him he brought a rope. He strung it around the rafters, stood on a chair and placed the rope around his own neck and took that one fateful step. But we have a problem. Lily never made it to the ship. Lily had escaped off the carriage. She was coming here. Her and Nicholas was going to run away together. Live happily ever after. What do you think she found when she walked in that room?
Probably him on the
Jingle
rope.
bells.
Yeah, it was a jingle bell.
Right here.
Mm-hmm.
It was Nicholas. She gently removed him from the rope, laid him on the floor, stood up on the same chair, and placed the same rope around her own neck, and proceeded to take that one faithful step. Our own little Romeo and Juliet. They're buried right over here in the park grounds. Nicholas is said to like women. He has gotten himself in trouble a few times for going into the guest's bedroom and sitting on the ladies' side of the bed, brushing their hair while they slept, and smoking a cigar. Now, the smell of cigar smoke can actually still be smelt in the room today. And yes, we have had complaints about women being touched and having their hair brushed while they slept when no one was in the room. But Lily is said to be a little mischievous, only 14 years of age, a small girl. She didn't have the luxuries that you have today of lipstick, mascara, makeup, compacts. It is said you will find the contents of your purse emptied out onto the floor, nothing missing, but you will find that your lipstick container wide open, the cap to your mascara off, and the powder knocked out of your compacts. It is also said that when, actually I was here for this one, we brought Annabelle and Josh in to hear from the ghost hunters, and we brought in the white noise meters, the lights, the strobes, all of our electronic devices. We had amazing activity walking into that room, so we actually decided that we were going to move the bed over by the window. That way, Josh, being a medium, he can sit there and try to communicate. When we moved the bed, we found a broken compact on the floor with a handprint of a child that was no bigger than that.
Watch over the car.
Yeah, I don't like becoming points. So are any of us into botany by chance?
Yeah.
You like botany?
Yeah, botany. Plants and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah.
The study of plants.
Yes, I have to explain it to them in regular people terms.
Well, right here to my right is probably one of the oldest sago palms you will ever lay eyes on. Approximately 200 years old with a value close to $500,000.
That's nuts.
Approximately 200 years old.
The value is what's crazy.
Yeah, close to 475,000 to 500,000.
I mean, I just see the world's largest rose bush in Tombstone at the beginning of August. That-
Well, we also have the
Yeah.
largest water oak in the nation as well.
That's cool.
She is called the Old Sentinel, and she is down at the Howard Johnson Hotel right here downtown.
Oh, cool.
The girth on her, I'm going to say 10 feet, maybe 15 feet around,
Wow.
just from one side to the other. I'm guessing 15 feet. She's huge. But I really like to talk about this beautiful house right here. Another house that we've gotten a shadow figure in. We caught the shadow figure up here in the Widow's Walk. Now, do we know what a Widow's Walk is?
Mm-mm.
Back in this time period, he and I, we would be out to sea at least 9 months out of the year. You would stay home and take care of the kids, the cows, the horses, the chickens, the goats, the pigs, while we were out to sea. Well, for you to see if we were coming home, we had built the balcony at the very top of the house. So you can look out over the city and see if you can see our flag coming in. Now, I love this home. This one right here is 1898. You could probably buy it today for around $3
million.
Yeah. Good pocket change.
Give or take $1 million.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This is the only house. 6 years ago, 2.3. Today, probably around 5 or 6. This house used to have a steeple, or used to have a Widow's Walk. But thanks to Henry Flagler, the widow's walk was removed and the pitch was built. The problem though was when they took out the enclosed widow's walk, they had found steel bars inside of the wall. Now Captain Upham, the Upham cottage here, was said to be a very jealous man and had good right. He had said that he had married one of the most beautiful women in the entire city. So when he would go out to sea, he would lock her in the 3rd floor with enough food and water to last to his return. The only thing else that she was left with was a harpsichord. Now, do we know what a harpsichord is? Remember that instrument Lurch played on the Addams Family?
Oh, yeah.
That's a harpsichord. It's an inside-out, upside-down piano. Well, I was sitting here telling this story one day, and the owner of the home comes out, and she was not happy. Why do you keep coming by and talking about my house? Because these are private residences. I was like, well, ma'am, apparently your real estate agent broke the law. By law, they're required to tell you if you bought a haunted home or not. And apparently her real estate agent hadn't told her about this. And so I explained the story about the harpsichord and how it could still be heard being played coming from the 3rd floor. Though there's no one there, and that's not even a room anymore, it's an attic. Well, she goes, that what that noise was? She said, I hear it every night. And it said to be the captain's wife still up there playing the harpsichord, mourning her losses. Now, as we move on along, when Henry Flagler's daughter died, he was not going to have her buried in the ground. He was going to have her interred inside of a mausoleum. But what does every church have in its backyard?
Don't look at us for that answer.
A cemetery.
Okay. See, because, yeah.
The cemetery is still there, but the headstones are not. Henry Flagler only removed the headstones when he reopened the Flagler Memorial Presbyterian Church that we have today. The amount of paranormal activity that happens in this building, along with a couple other buildings here throughout the city, is astronomical. This is probably one of the most haunted towns other than Savannah.
Nice. Savannah's on the list too.
Came an officer, and he was cradling a porcelain statue in his arms, wrapped in velvet cloth. He ordered to the captain, this statue will remain on this vessel, no matter what. After a brief argument, the captain finally agreed. He said, get the statue out of my sight. So the officer had taken the statue to the bowsprits, the very forward mast of the ship. He unwrapped it from his velvet cloth and placed it right at the base of the mast. And it is said through that entire storm, that statue never once toppled, never once fell over. And that ship made it right here to St. Augustine, all crew counted for.